Hello everybody. So for today we are going to deal with a new section in English which is called models. Models in English. So what do we mean by models? In English we have different models and they express, okay, they have different meanings. Now we are going to deal with them, okay, in details. You find first must or have to. Mustn't. Can, can't. May, mayn't or might not. Should, ought to. And there is needn't. Now we find must, have to. It expresses necessity or obligation. Example, John has a terrible toothache. He see a dentist. So we say, John has a terrible toothache. He must see a dentist. Must, obligatory. Another one, people must wash their hands with soap. It's obligatory. Means they must wash their hands so as to avoid the spread of the virus. You find the mustn't. It expresses prohibition. Means something that you shouldn't do. You don't have the right to do it. You are not allowed to do it. Example, drivers mustn't use their cell phones while driving. So drivers mustn't use their cell phones while driving. Means they don't have the right to use their mobile phones while they are driving. Number two, students mustn't cheat on exams. It's against the law. Can, ability. Bill is very fit. He can participate in the race. Bill is very fit. He can participate in the race. Tom is well built. He can lift the heavy desk. He is able. He can. Ability, capacity. There is also the past of can is could. It expresses ability in the past. Example, when I was young, I could climb that tree. I could climb. It's ability in the past. Could, can, will, would, they express a request. It means when you require something, you request something, you ask somebody to give you something politely. Okay, you ask for something politely. What can we say? For example, here there is a dialogue between the boss and the secretary. The boss is speaking to his or her secretary and he says, could or can or will or would you send me the report by email, please? This is a request. Student is speaking to his friend. What can he say? Would or could you help me install this virus, this antivirus, please? Could you help me install this antivirus, please? You find can and may. It expresses permission. Now, the driver is speaking to the policeman. The driver is speaking to the policeman and he says, may I or can I park here, sir? It's permission. Can, may, possibility. There are some clouds in the sky. It can or it may rain tomorrow. It's just a possibility. I'm not sure. Scientists may or can find a cure to corona soon. We are not sure. This is just a possibility. This is just what we think. You find also must. We saw must expresses must expresses obligation or necessity, but must has another function, which is certainty in the present. It means I'm sure, I'm certain. Tom has a house in Paris. He has a flat in Rabat. He has two expensive cars. He must be rich or he must be wealthy. Means I'm sure he is rich because he has a house, okay, in Paris. He has a flat in Rabat. He has two expensive cars. So I am sure he must be rich. The bus driver hasn't slept for 3 days. He must be tired. I'm sure he is tired because he hasn't slept for 3 days. Can't expresses also impossibility in the present. Mother is speaking to her, okay, to her son. You have just eaten a big plate of rice. You can't feel hungry. It's impossible because you have just taken a big plate of rice. Ted can't give me a lift tomorrow because he sold his car last month. Needn't or don't have to. Lack of necessity means it's not necessary. When you say I needn't or I don't have to, means okay, it's not necessary for me to do it. Okay, Elena, you needn't or you don't have to ring the doorbell. I have keys with me. Means it's not necessary. Teacher to students, you make 2 copies means you needn't or you don't have to make 2 copies. Only one is enough. It's not necessary. Must plus have plus past participle. Now we are going to speak about must in the past. Okay, so must, okay, certainty in the present, must plus bare infinitive, but now must plus have plus past participle, it expresses certainty in the past. Yesterday Bob came out of the exam very happy. He must have done well in this exam means I was sure, okay, because it's certainty in the past that he did well in the exam. The road is wet. It must have rained a lot last night. Certainty in the past. We have also can't plus have plus past participle. It expresses impossibility in the past. Example, Tom, I saw Elena in the library yesterday. Susan says, no, you can't have, okay, you can't have seen her. She is still in Belgium. Impossible in the, okay, impossibility in the past. You can't have seen her because she's still in Belgium. John can't have written this Arabic graffiti on the wall because he speaks only in English and this graffiti is written in Arabic, so it's impossible. Needn't plus have plus past participle. Lack of necessity in the past. We see needn't plus bare infinitive, it's lack of necessity in the present. But needn't plus have plus past participle, it expresses lack of necessity in the past. Example, Bill needn't have painted his bedroom. He needn't have painted his bedroom last week. His family will move to their new apartment next week. So it's a lack of necessity in the past. Husband to his wife. You needn't have cooked all that food for lunch. We will eat out our lunch. You needn't have cooked it, okay? It was not necessary. We have should or ought to plus bare infinitive, it expresses advice. People should or ought to put on their face mask when they go out. This is an advice. It's just a piece of advice. This is just a piece of advice. Obese people shouldn't or oughtn't to eat greasy food. So obese people shouldn't or oughtn't to eat greasy food. It's an advice. It's just a piece of advice. Should, ought to plus have plus past participle. Regret in the past. So should or ought to plus bare infinitive, they express okay, advice in the present. But should have or ought to have plus past participle, they express regret in the past. Elena failed her exam. She should have revised her lessons before. It's a regret. She regretted not having prepared her lessons before. I have a terrible stomachache. I shouldn't have eaten a lot for dinner. It's a regret in the past. Bob got in trouble. He ought to have contacted his lawyer before. Okay, so it's just a regret. Thank you very much.